First and foremost, and I think this is obviously one of the biggest news stories of the week, in my opinion. We finally have a release date for Detroit Become Human. So Quantic Dream's upcoming game is now scheduled to arrive on May 25th. So wanted to ask the question of are you guys looking forward to the game? And do you think that it'll actually turn out to be a good game? Because, now let me just start out by saying I didn't play Heavy Rain. I believe you played Heavy Rain, Gary. And I also did not play Beyond Two Souls either. So will be going into this title with this really being one of the first Quantic Dream games that I have played. So you can start us off, Gary. Let me know, what do you think about Detroit Become Human, and do you think it's going to turn out to be a good game?
No, I definitely don't want to compare it to Heavenly Rain because I'm sure Quantic Dream has learned a lot since they made that game. But the thing is with Heavenly Rain, when you played that game for the first time, it was like the most amazing gaming experience ever. Like, and the story just it had you hooked. It seemed phenomenal at the time. Obviously with it being a mystery, the whole mystery element kept you hooked and wanting to know, who the actual culprit is and how events unfolded. So while you were playing it, it was amazing, like the whole way through, like visually, storyline, dialogue, it kept you in full suspense. But after you beat Heavenly Rain and you really look back at it and think about it, you start to think about all the ways that it didn't make sense at all. Like there was a lot of plot holes in that story. And I think a lot of that was because they were struggling to include that option where, no matter what happens, the story continues and stuff. And there's so many different decisions you can make as a player and stuff. I remember one of the big things being that any of the characters that you play can die and the story will continue. So with things like that occurring, I think it kind of painted them into a corner, and that's what caused a lot of the plot holes because something that ambitious is really hard to pull off, and that's why I still give a lot of credit to BioWare for what they did with the Mass Effect trilogy, because that was an amazing achievement in itself. But yeah. As for Detroit, Become Human, I think, if they try to go super ambitious like that, they could paint themselves into that corner again. But at the same time, I'm sure they've learned from a lot of those mistakes that they did make in Heavenly Rain. So I'm hoping this is going to be, a far superior version of Heavy Rain, but also be completely original. It's going to be its own thing as well. So I do think it's going to be quite phenomenal to play through the first time. Whether or not the story remains cohesive after we beat it, that's a different story. But, we've got to get there first. And I'm sure getting there is the fun part. So I think it's going to be a good experience, especially the first time you play it.
Yeah, some very good thoughts. And I'm going to give a shout out to Showan in the chat. Yes, the game is. We have to make sure we correct this. It's Heavy Rain, not Heavenly Rain, because I
always get it mixed up with Heavenly Sword.
No, hey, that's totally fine. But yeah, based on that description, you told me the game didn't sound heavenly, so we got to make sure that we keep it correct and say, yeah, it's Heavy Rain. It had some issues in it. So I do have something to say, but before I say what I'm going to say, Dana, what are your thoughts on Detroit Become Human? Are you looking forward to it coming out? Go ahead.
I'm going to be honest. I am, but I'm also scared. See, I felt excitement when I saw Watch Dogs. So that looked like a really great game. That looked like it was, really advanced, and it looked like it had a great storyline, and everyone was all swooped in with just, that little trailer that we saw. And I feel the same way towards this, but we all know how much of a disaster Watch Dogs was. So I'm cautious. I'm very happy that they, you know, moved the release date up. I hope they don't go back and change it. So, you know, that would be a plus for me. I am excited. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not going to be like overly ecstatic about it just because I don't know. There could be a lot of issues with that game and a lot of bugs and who knows. But from what I've seen and what we've all seen, I'm very intrigued. When it comes out, I do want to buy it. Maybe not day one, maybe like day 21 and see what any of the complaints are. But good job to them for pushing up the date. Just, you know, don't screw the rest of it up.
I think the caution is totally understood. And I know I had mentioned on the show before that, you know, when we were at PSX back in December, I did get a chance to play the game, and by all accounts, the game is fantastic. You know, I got to see a couple of people playing through some of the same story stuff that I played through, and I got to see a couple of different things that can happen. So I'm very curious to see how it all comes together. Obviously, I think the goal of the game is for you to play and see the multiple endings. So obviously, it's a game that you'll definitely play through more than once, if I had to make a guess. But I generally am excited for the game. As I already mentioned, I didn't play Heavy Rain. I did not play Beyond Two Souls. I do recall playing the demo that they had for Beyond Two Souls, and I thought the demo was okay. But it did not do enough to convince me that, oh, I definitely need to buy this game. So maybe it wasn't that great. But at least with this game, I am compelled to see how far along they actually push this narrative with the androids and the humans. Because I know this is something that they've been wanting to do for a while. Ever since they introduced that Kara model that they were working on, this is what this essentially was leading towards. So I'm curious to see how the final product turns out. But yeah, I think having some caution is totally understood. So we'll have to see, you know, how it all comes together. But one thing I did want to also mention about this game, I'm not sure if you guys saw the box art, but I know that got some criticism from some fans. There's also another publication, which I'm not going to mention the name because they already get enough traffic. I don't think we need to send any more traffic to their website. But one publication in particular mentioned that the box art is absolutely horrible. And I'm just curious what you guys think about the box art, because my personal opinion, all I care about is the game. The box art could be trash, but I don't really care about that because I'm not going to play the box art. I'm going to play the actual game. But I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that if you actually saw the box art, because, you know, it has Jesse Williams on the front, close up on his face type of deal. But Gary, did you get to see the box art? And if so, what did you think about it?
Yeah, I know exactly which publication you're talking about. And as for the box art, I share your sentiment. Like, I don't care about box arts that much, you know, like, because it's the game that I want to play at the end of the day. But you know, it does, the box art doesn't do anything to intrigue me or anything. Like, sometimes you can look at a box art and think that's a nice piece of art right there, like that's well done. But this doesn't do anything for me at all. Like, it's just, you know, it's just okay, cool, whatever, who cares. Yeah, but I mean, you know, I don't think it's a big deal like everyone's making out, but yeah, it doesn't do anything for me.
One quick thing I will say, there was an image that I saw on the PlayStation Store, an image that had all three of the Android characters, and I actually used that image when I had made the post about the game when we found out it was going to be coming out in spring 2018. I think that would have been a far better image to use, but that's just my opinion. You know, obviously, you know, maybe I will throw this picture in the post whenever we do a post on the site to show you guys what I mean, but I think that would have been a better image to show instead of what they did. But again, I don't really care too much about the box art. How about you, Dana? I know that you're a huge Jesse Williams fan, so were you offended when they said that they didn't like the box art, or do you agree?
What is wrong with people? It looked perfectly fine. It's a close up of his face, and you can see the very small details that he is actually a robot. He's an android. And the brilliant behind it is that you have to look up close to actually see that. As opposed to, looking far away, you wouldn't be able to tell. So it does show the argument of, robots versus humans, or, that technology thing. So I like it. I think you guys are nitpicking. I don't understand why it's hated. It looks perfectly fine to me.
Yeah. Hey, I agree. Very good point. And again, we're not playing the box art, we're playing the game. So the box art shouldn't really be that important. But I agree with you, what you say about the details of the face, because that was what I noticed instantly. I said, okay, well, yeah, this is very interesting. But as Gary said, I guess not interesting enough for everybody, but it's fine. It doesn't make a difference.
Complain. That's all. They just complain to complain so they can have a voice.
You're right.
It's perfectly.
You're right. And essentially, that is the world we live in today, with a lot of people complaining, defining reasons to complain. So, yeah, that makes sense. But one thing I will say is, again, the big takeaway I come away from all of this is that, now we know at least 2 Sony games that have release dates. God of War comes out on April 20th. That's a whole month before this game. So very curious to see when Spider-Man and Days Gone get their release dates. They both said 2018. Perhaps that's going to be the fall games. Well, before the big major stuff comes out in November with Call of Duty and, whatever else, Battlefield. Maybe September this will be out. But very much looking forward to that. And, yeah, we'll see how it turns out. So any final thoughts on Detroit Become Human before we move to the next topic?
Just really quickly, comparing Sony's 2018 to 2017, I definitely don't think it compares so far, because last year we already had like some amazing stuff. But yeah, like we still do have a lot of good stuff to look forward to as well. So, but yeah, I just wanted to make that comment real quick.
Well, now that you made that comment, I have to ask the question. So, I'm trying to remember all the games they released in 2017. I know we had Horizon Zero Dawn. We had Nier Automata.
Yeah, we had Gravity Rush 2 had come out.
Yeah, that was out in January. Yep, last year.
Yakuza 0.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. And and Neo, that was out in February.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. You make some good points. Yeah, I agree. And this year so far, we are going to have God of War. We do have Ni no Kuni out. That's also coming to PC, but that is coming out this month. And of course, Yakuza 6 is coming out in April. So I mean, yeah, I think you make a good point, because there's a lot of great games last year that was coming out, at the very start of the year. Maybe a little bit slow to really get the party started so far this year, but we'll see what happens as the year goes on. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, good points that you made there. So let's move on to the next topic.